If I try to take these glasses that are not mine and try to put them on, it's so blurry. It is so blurry. I grew up as an only child, so I always wondered, how can I make friends? What can I say or do to make myself more charming? I read books, I watched videos, I read articles, just on the topic of how to talk to people better. And in the hospital, I'm surrounded by people all the time. There's always someone to talk to, my patients, doctors, colleagues. So growing up as an only child and being a nurse, since 2020 is upon us, here are 10 lessons I've learned in the last 10 years about talking to people. If you're just joining me now, my name is Josel James. This channel is all about personal development and social interaction. Without further ado, grab your popcorn, grab a seat, let's get right into it. Number one, if you could just take away one thing from this video, it would be to listen. We all need to do a better job at listening. End of story, super simple, just listen. I know in conversations you want to keep talking about yourself, but listen, trust me, just listen. Take some time and actually listen to the other person. Number two, listen. Yes, it's the same as number one, but I'm gonna go a little more into it, into active listening. Listening isn't some passive thing. You're supposed to be actively listening. What does the other person look like? What their body language is doing? What their tone is like? What their eyes are doing? You have to pay attention to these little things that may seem unimportant, but you have to take all this information in. Everything as a package. And active listening is taking these little bits of information and compiling them to see what is this person really trying to say. So actively listen. Number three, people love talking about themselves. If you ever find yourself stuck and not knowing what to say, just ask questions about the other person. People will love to expand on what's going on in their life. And using this as a tool, you'll be able to engage in small talk better, be able to engage in conversations better. People just love talking about themselves. Some people like talking about themselves so much, they don't even know they're talking about themselves. A word of caution though.
A word of caution.
Be careful, because you can get stuck for a whole, maybe hours. And sometimes you don't have those hours to spend listening to other people in the break room as they talk about their life. But that is neither here or there. People love talking about themselves. Use that information to have better conversations. Number four, we can't read minds. This is kind of like a duh, we can't read minds. But we have the next best thing, and that's looking at a person's body language. You might be able to tell what a person might be feeling or thinking just based off their body language, right? If a person's not looking at you, they obviously don't want to talk to you, or they're thinking about something else, or they're not paying attention to you. You have to take that information in with a grain of salt. I think that's the saying, with a grain of salt. Just because a person has their arms crossed, or their brows down like this, it doesn't mean they're mad. Maybe it's just really cold and the sun's in their face. You have to take those things into consideration. You have to look at it in context. Number five, clarify what the other person is saying. A good way of understanding other people is just to repeat what they just said to you, but in your own words. Say someone's ranting to you because they couldn't get their shift covered. You can say things like, you sound angry, or that sucks. Or you can say things like, you sound really frustrated that you can't watch Drake, the greatest rapper who's ever lived. When you summarize the other person's feelings in words and your own thoughts, this will create a deeper connection between you two.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
And this is what empathy is all about. Actually seeing the other person's point of view. We get caught up in our own world because, I mean, we are who we are. We see the world through our own eyes, but actually taking the time to try and see it from the other person's perspective, this will do you wonders and will help you be a more understanding, a more empathetic person. And isn't that who we are as nurses? Empathetic people, empathetic nurses? Isn't that what it's all about? Being empathetic to the other person, being empathetic for our patients? This leads me to number 6. Thank you to Dr. Stephen Strange to learning this lesson for us.
Which is?
It's not about you.
It's not about you. You have to be able to use this when you're talking to people. Make it about other people. Don't make it about yourselves. The more you talk about yourself, the more self-absorbed you can be. Especially in nursing, when you're talking to our patients, you gotta remember, it's not about you. If they're being rude to you, maybe they're having a bad day. Who knows? If another nurse is being rude to you, maybe they're having a bad day. If the floor doesn't want to get report to you, you don't know what they're going through. It's not about you. It's about your patients. Try to keep that in mind and you'll be overall, I think, a happier person. If you want to see an example of someone who does not follow this, someone who does not follow empathy, look no further than any cat out there. Every cat out there is evil. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate from the internet, but cats are only about themselves. Just don't understand how people can take care of cats and say, oh, my cat loves me. No, your cat loves themselves. Cats are evil. Because cats are only in it for themselves. Isn't there a new movie called Cats? I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming those cats are only looking out for their own damn selves. Cats. Okay, that was a cat rant, but don't be like a cat. Don't make it about yourself. Number 7, QTIP or Q-tip. Quit taking it personally. I talked about this a little bit earlier. Just because someone said something to you in a rude way, to you doesn't mean she was being rude. So even though you think it might be directed at you, it might not be. So stop for a second to think, did this person really mean to harm me? 9 times out of 10, people are really nice people and they're not out to get you. They're just out for themselves. So don't take it personally. People are just living in their own world. And when you use this information, you'll be able to talk to others and maybe understand others a little bit better. Just QTIP. Quit taking it personally. Someone ate your food in the break room. It's not personal. It's not personal. They didn't want to hurt you, but you were hurt because they took your food, but they weren't out to get you. They were probably just hungry and wanted to eat your delicious carne asada torta that you'll never see again. But it's not personal. So remember, when talking to other people, don't take it personally. Number 8, people have different lenses on. If I try to take these glasses that are not mine and try to put them on, it's so blurry. It is so blurry. Oh my God, it is so blurry. I can't even, it gives me a headache. It gives me a headache just trying to, I don't know why I keep doing it. People have grown up with different thoughts, perspectives, and opinions. And with all those experiences, they have developed into someone seeing the world with their own lens. I'm not gonna put those on again because they're gonna hurt. It's difficult sometimes for other people to see things outside of their own lens. That's because people aren't used to it. People aren't used to being empathetic. Being empathetic isn't natural, but using this information that everyone has on different lenses, it will help you really understand other people better. Just because you see things through your own lens doesn't mean that everyone else does. So remember that. Number 9, a lot of people are on autopilot. How many times have you had this conversation? How are you? Good. How are you? Good. And that's it. To me, those aren't meaningful conversations to have, but it's good to know that people are on autopilot. So you know when you're engaging someone, you know, why are they saying the things they're saying? Oh, they just must be on autopilot. Goes back to QTIP, Q-tip. Don't take it personally because the other person might be on autopilot. You don't know what's going on with them. So just remember that people are on autopilot a lot of the time, especially when it comes to talking and conversation. People are on autopilot. Some people are on autopilot so much that when they go to order their food and they're not ready and the server or waiter or waitress asks them what they want, they just order the first thing that comes to their mind. They'll freak out and say, burger and fries, please. But you're at Chipotle and they don't have burgers and fries. So just be aware of that people are on autopilot most of the time. Number 10, be aware of how you are saying things. How are you saying it? What's your tone? What's your body language saying? Where's your eye contact? What's your head doing? What are your hands doing? Where are your eyes at? What are your ears doing? Just kidding about the ears. Most of the things we've talked about is what the other person is doing, what the other person is saying, being about the other person. I think it's more important to focus on the other person. But when it comes to focusing on yourself, be aware of how you're saying things. Not everyone is equipped with these social and communication tools. So you might say something that might deeply offend someone, or might deeply offend your patient, or might deeply offend your colleagues. But just be aware of what you're saying. Some people might get emotionally tripped. Some people might start getting angry and you might just sit there and think, what did I say? We live in a politically correct time. So just be careful about the things you're saying. Just be careful with what you're saying and be aware of what you're saying. And some people will say, oh, I'll say what I want. Say what you want, but there are consequences to what you say. One thing I personally struggle with is my tone of voice. I am super sarcastic. Sometimes my message gets across very, very incorrectly. So I try to pull back on my sarcasm a little bit because otherwise people won't know what I mean. But for those who understand sarcasm, I salute you. So that about wraps up this video. That about wraps up this year. I hope you learned something. I really want to hear what you all think. Do you have any tips on how to talk to people? I'm not a mind reader, so let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like and subscribe button. If you didn't enjoy this video, please press the like and subscribe button. Here's my usernames for other platforms. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I really hope you learned something from this video. Thanks for watching. Stay charming, my friends.